The camera finds him the instant the ball hits the net. 2 fingers raised to the sky, lips moving in a message reported to read, "Liberty for my father." Somewhere in the hills of La Guajira, the man who taught him this game was still being held captive by guerrillas. How does a son keep scoring when his father has been taken? To understand that, you have to go back to the desert where it all began. Part 1. The Desert Boy, Barrancas. A small, poor town in La Guajira, the desert region at the northern tip of Colombia. This is where Luis Fernando Diaz Marulanda was born on the 13th of January 1997. He was born of Wayuu indigenous descent, one of the largest native communities in Colombia, a people of the dry plains who have lived between 2 countries and one harsh landscape for centuries. His first coach was his own father, Luis Manuel Diaz, who ran the only football school in town. There, on rough pitches under a relentless sun, a boy began to learn the game. By multiple accounts, he was small, slight, reportedly underweight as a teenager. Talent was never the question. His body was. Scouts looked at him and worried he simply wasn't big enough. Age 17. The turning point, as it's been widely reported, came at a tournament for indigenous communities. Scouts from Atlético Junior spotted him there, a skinny winger tearing past defenders, and offered him a trial. And once he got the chance, the talent did the rest. The dribbling, the acceleration, the fearlessness in one-on-one. At Junior in Barranquilla, the boy from the desert started to look like a man with a future. Low to the ground, quick feet, always driving at the fullback. He helped Junior to domestic silverware and announced himself as one of the most exciting young players in Colombian football. Part 2. Porto. In 2019, Europe came calling. FC Porto, one of Portugal's giants, signed the winger and brought him across the Atlantic. The adjustment was real. New language, new continent, new level of opponent. But the feet spoke a universal tongue. He cut inside off the left, he beat his man, he threatened the goal. Bit by bit, Porto fans saw what Colombia already knew. And the trophies followed. 2 Portuguese league titles in his time at the Estádio do Dragão, and on the bigger European nights, against the best defenders on the continent, he kept doing the same thing, running straight at them, refusing to be intimidated. Part 3. Alongside Messi. But the moment that truly put Luis Diaz on the global map came in the summer of 2021, the Copa America. Playing for Colombia, he was electric. Goals, drives, decisive moments, a tournament that announced him to the whole continent. One strike in particular, a stunning volley, was talked about as one of the goals of the entire competition. Joint top scorer, Copa America 2021. He finished the tournament as joint top scorer, tied with none other than Lionel Messi. The Desert Boy, level with the greatest player of his generation. Europe's biggest clubs took notice. It was no longer a question of if he would move to one of them, only when. Part 4. Anfield. In January 2022, the answer arrived. Liverpool. Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool, one of the most feared attacking teams in the world. And he fit instantly. The pressing, the intensity, the relentless running. It was as if the system had been built for him. That first half season was a whirlwind. Liverpool were chasing every trophy available, and the Colombian was right in the thick of it. In his first months in England, he won the FA Cup and the League Cup, 2 trophies before he'd even finished settling in. Anfield fell for him quickly. The fans had a song. They had a nickname for him too, the one his family used: Lucho. He reached a Champions League final that first season too, and even when Liverpool fell short, his place in the team was no longer in doubt. A serious knee injury cost him a long stretch of the following season, months on the sidelines. But he fought his way back, and on his return, the work ethic never wavered. Part 5. 12 Days. Then, in October 2023, his world stopped. According to widespread reporting, his parents were kidnapped in Barrancas, the town where he grew up. His mother, it was reported, was rescued within hours by Colombian authorities, but his father remained missing, taken into the hills. The kidnapping was later attributed to the ELN guerrilla group, and it drew national appeals and an enormous search operation across the region. And through all of it, he kept playing. Days after the news broke, against Luton, he came off the bench at Anfield. He scored, and he lifted his shirt to reveal a message, a plea reported around the world for his father's freedom. Underneath, the words that were reported to read, "Liberty for my father." After 12 days, the relief finally came. His father was freed and returned to his family. 12 days. The footage of father and son reunited spoke louder than any statement. The man who taught him the game, home again. It is impossible to imagine what those 12 days cost a family, and a son who scored through every one of them. Part 6. Champions. And somehow, the football kept rising. He returned to his best, sharper, more direct, more clinical in front of goal. He became a key man as Liverpool chased the league, driving infield, scoring, creating, terrorising defenders down that left side. And in 2025, the biggest domestic prize of all arrived. Liverpool were champions of England, the Premier League title. Premier League champion 2025. For a boy once told he was too small, too slight, too far from anywhere, a Premier League medal. The desert had produced a champion of England. Part 7. Bavaria. But there was one more move to come. In 2025, Bayern Munich made him their man, a transfer reported as a club record fee. The German giants paid a figure reported to be among the biggest in their history to bring the Colombian to Bavaria. And he hit the ground running. New league, new country, same player. Same fearless runs at the fullback. Goals, assists, the same relentless threat off the left. Bayern fans got exactly what they'd paid for. And he kept on winning. He added the Bundesliga to his collection, a league title in a third different country. Bundesliga champion. Portugal, England, Germany, title after title. The skinny kid who scouts thought wouldn't make it had become a serial winner across Europe. Part 8. The world stage. But for a Colombian, there is one stage above all others, and in 2026 it arrived, the World Cup. Colombia walked into the tournament with Luis Diaz as their talisman, the boy from La Guajira now carrying the hopes of a nation. The debut came against Uzbekistan, and on the biggest stage of his life, he delivered. A goal. The ball in the net at a World Cup, the dream every Colombian child grows up holding. And an assist too, goal and assist on his World Cup debut. A complete performance from a complete forward. Goal plus assist, World Cup debut. The kid from the only football school in Barrancas, now announcing himself to the entire planet. Legacy. What does he mean? To the Wayuu people, to La Guajira, to Colombia, he is proof. Proof that the road from the desert leads somewhere. Underweight, overlooked, from a town most maps barely mark, and yet titles in 3 countries and a World Cup stage all his own. And through all of it, there's the man who started it, his father. The first coach, the one taken for 12 days, the one he scored for that night at Anfield. Every goal, in a sense, still points back to that football school in the desert, and to the man who taught a small boy that he was never too small to dream. Lucho, the desert boy who refused to be told no. If this story stayed with you, subscribe to Beyond the Boots for more. The boots tell the story, we just follow the footsteps.